Hey everyone, I'm Bella Dodds, and this week we are talking about overwhelm and our need to be in control. And I'm curious how you're all doing. I know in the US there's a lot of stress really every single day happening in the news. So because of this intensity and this time that we're in, and it's really happening across the world, a lot is going on right now in this time in history. So I'm going to focus on, we could really just talk about our need to control in our own life and in our relationships, but I'm going to really address some of the bigger issues happening right now because it's affecting a lot of people's mental and emotional and physical health. And then whatever I describe, you can apply to your own personal life, okay? So I could really talk for 2 hours about this. There's a lot that goes into our need to be in control and what is really driving that. But let's just aim for being concise, and I'll give you a few tips that you can use that I hope will really help you at this time. And so the big thing is there is a lot in life that we really are not in control over, and we try and control the uncontrollable, and that creates a tremendous amount of stress and tension in our bodies. However, there are things that we do have control over, and that's what we really want to focus on today. And we're going to look at 3 areas. The first is focus. Where are you putting your focus? The next is how do you choose to treat yourself and others? And the last is how do you choose to respond to what happens to you and how you perceive it and what action you take from there. So focus is huge because oftentimes the human mind defaults into kind of mentally having a stewing conversation internally when things aren't going our way, or we'll get stressed or angry, or we'll get defensive and frustrated. There's probably some yelling going on at the television right now, I would imagine. And so there's this real intensity on it, and so that's where we're putting our focus. And there is so much that we can't control over, which a lot of people get really, frustrated about this, which makes so much sense. I mean, it's not easy. There's no doubt about it. But the truth is that there is a lot that we can't control over. Thousands of things that are happening every single day that are really actually supporting us on the highest level and keeping us alive. And those are the things that we don't focus on. So we're focusing on the things that we're stressed out about and that we can't control and that are feeling like it's attacking us or our well-being or our safety and security, or those are the people that we love, or we're not being respected and valued and appreciated. But we're also not then focusing on all of the thousands of things and really millions of things that are making sure that we stay alive and healthy every day. So let's just take a look at a few of those, and I invite you, if you're really stressed out, to come up with a list on your own of 50 to even 100 things. If you're really stressed out and you really want to go deep, this is a really beautiful exercise to help calm your nervous system and mind and come in to a place of opening your heart and just being present in the moment and just taking in how much you are truly supported. So to get you started on a few, for instance, we are not in needing to control and oversee and make sure that all the food that we eat is, we're not getting up at 4 in the morning and watering the food and making sure that everything that we're eating is something that's up to us to make sure that that happens. We can go to the grocery store and we can buy what we need, and it's supporting us. And we are not growing cotton to make our clothes, I didn't have to work really hard to make this. I just got to buy it, wear it, done. Nice, that's kind of awesome, right? We're not in control of mining for minerals in the earth to make pipes that then we bring to our house, and we are in control of having to figure out how to work the plumbing to make sure that we can shower and cook food at home. We are not in control and overseeing and making sure that trees are absorbing water and growing strong so that they can transform solar energy into the oxygen we breathe. That all existed before we existed, before you and I specifically existed. That was happening long before we came into this world. And we're not in control of that. And thank God we're not, because how stressful would that be? But we are supported by that. Truly, truly supported by that. We are not having to monitor our heart rate and consciously control the 50 trillion cells within our body, keeping us alive at every single second. If we eat food, we don't have to think about that digestion. There's a wisdom within our body that's doing that. There's so much intelligence within us that's keeping us alive. And nor are we having to control, the sun and it burning at a certain rate so that a certain amount of light comes to this planet and heat for millions and millions of years to give life to this planet. We can delegate that to the greater wisdom and mystery of life itself that is supporting us in every single moment. And life-threatening asteroids, we're not having to worry about shooting them out of the sky, because in the past 25 years alone, 2 life-destroying asteroids, one the size of the Earth, actually collided into Jupiter, because Jupiter has such a strong electromagnetic field. Astronomers look for Jupiter-sized planets when they're looking for life in other solar systems. So I don't know about you, but are you worrying about that? Are you controlling that? So, our human mind gets so tightened and stressed and overwhelmed by our current situation and what's happening like right now, let's say, for example, in the political system, to a point that we can really get so stressed out and overwhelmed and overwork ourselves. But the truth is that in the past 25 years, 2 life-destroying asteroids that would have annihilated all life on Earth happened, but we're fine still. So there's a lot that's going on that's supporting us, and it helps to bring us into a greater state of perspective and calm and empowerment, and slows the thoughts down into a state of wisdom, and where we can ask higher level questions that will help us during times of great challenge. And currently we are in a great time of challenge. I'm very, active and involved with what's happening. Some people get so overwhelmed they can't look at this. So this video, I guess, is dedicated for people who are struggling with what's going on. And then if you're not really looking at it, but you've got some challenges going on in your own life, then you can apply the same things that we're talking about here. Okay, the next area that you do have control over is how you choose to treat yourself and others. Again, this is a big issue. However, simply, we can work on being kind and on our own side. We can work to develop a healthy relationship with ourselves and talk to ourselves like the way we would talk to our best friend. Would we see the good in them? Would we see their efforts? Would we be encouraging? Or would we overly criticize and demean every single thing that they were doing? Or would we really want to lift them up? So we have control over to begin to be really negative with ourselves, to just be, take steps or learn, work with people, or go to yoga classes, or go to support groups, or do different kinds of things where you're learning how to be more empowered in your relationship with yourself. So, I definitely lean into challenges, and, doing this video, for instance, this isn't like the easiest thing, but it's something that's like, I can do this, I want to do this, this is something I want to share with people to help them, right? And so that's a positive inner dialogue than going in a completely different negative direction, right? And then at the same time, then we also have the choice of how do we want to treat other people. Do we want to treat people with dignity and respect? If they are being really negative to us, or we're having a conflict in a personal relationship, can we seek to understand? If we can't talk to a person, let's say it's millions of people, and we cannot understand at all what they're thinking, and we're getting so angry, is there any way that we can try to see why are they in that position? What pain are they coming from? Because what I have found is underneath anger and fear is pain. And we will defend ourselves, and we will do different things that can be very hurtful in protection of that pain. But if we can see it, then we don't dehumanize someone. That doesn't mean that we empathize to the point of not taking any action. It just means that we aren't coming with so much anger and exasperation in our awareness. My mom just texted me, so she's saying hi, everybody. I don't know if you heard that. We're going to keep rolling. So, yeah, to find the humanity within people that we really disagree with. Just know that within the worst of the worst is pain, without question. The third one is how we choose to respond to what's happening and what action we take. So if something happens and it's really intense and stressful, we can choose to just think that there's no meaning and no purpose and it's overwhelming. We can do that for, an hour, a day, whatever. But eventually you're going to burn yourself out and feel hopeless, and they can lead to just a really negative way of seeing the world and how you respond to it. So you're not really using your energy in a positive, constructive way. So I would invite you to realize that you don't have control of all of these things that are happening on a global scale. You actually can't control other people. You can't control people close to you, as you've probably figured out, and nor do you like to be controlled. So it's not really about controlling what's happening. It's more of how do you respond to what is happening, and see if you can make it help bring out the best in you. So if you come from the perspective that I choose to respond to that this is happening for me, and there's something within this for me to learn, even if it's very difficult. And then what action am I going to take that is the highest level action within this challenging experience? That's the invitation. So we have a choice in that. We can't control all of these outer events, but we do have the choice of how we respond and the action that we take. So I'm going to give you just a few questions to ask yourself during this, very stressful time politically, and just see if you can gain some insights about what higher potential might be seeking to come through at this time right now. Because, for example, if we look back at history, a lot of times during the greatest crisis periods is when we have made tremendous progress. And even though it is tremendously scary and overwhelming and it's uncertain and we don't know, what's going to happen in all different parts of the world. We don't know when we're faced with a big challenge. But we can look back at history and look at times of period of great struggle and realize that that is also when we made a beautiful progress. For instance, the American Revolution, that's when democracy was birthed. The Civil War, that's when, slavery was abolished, and we're still working towards equal rights, but we did make progress. So I'm not saying we're at that point of crisis, but it's during really hard times that we want to say, okay, what if something higher is seeking to emerge right now? And what could that be? And who do I want to be at this time? How do I want to respond? What do I care about? What's important to me? And who do I want to be in the world in response to all of this? And consciously choose to be in control of making that choice, right? We do have control over that. So I'm going to give you a few questions, and just not think so much with your intensity of your mind, but more open yourself up to your intuition and just, seeing if you sense a higher potential right now. So what is the higher possibility within this challenge, either in my own personal life and relationships or within my global family? If this were happening for our society, what is the higher potential seeking to emerge? What if I were born at this time in history for a reason? And on a soul level, What would I love to contribute my energy to? What do I want to be a part of? What do I want to fight for? If I look back 20 years from now, what do I want to feel proud of myself for the actions that I took and what I did and the control I had within my life to make a difference in the way that I could? What would I want to put my energy into? Okay, so those are some questions that you can, marinate with and explore and kind of reflect on, yeah, where do I want to take these simple practices and use them in my life? Or where can I shift my focus and, shift on how I'm responding to this and maybe have it to help bring out the best in me and what action then I want to take from there. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below. And if you are feeling really overwhelmed and stressed right now, you can check out my 6-week master course on Burnt Out Body, Anxious Mind. And next week we're going to be looking at, I believe it is, calming overwhelm and worst case scenario fear. So we've got a lot of good topics coming up. Okay, everyone, I am sending you so much love and strength during this challenging time. Lots of love. Namaste.